Hey everybody, I'm Dawn Zoldi, CEO of P3 Tech Consulting, and I'm so honored to be here today with Edwin Sanchez. Edwin is the CTO and co-founder of a brand new startup called Votix, and they're doing something you may not have heard of, but you will after this. It's called drone orchestration. Welcome, Edwin.
Thank you for having me here, Don. It's a real pleasure. I'm excited to be, here and have the opportunity to showcase our platform.
Absolutely. Well, that's a great segue, Edwin. We are going to roll film and give a quick overview before we get into a demo.
All right.
Votix. Drone orchestration and automation. Imagine if you had a system that you could access from anywhere to manage your drone operations. By creating missions, requesting approvals, centralizing your logs, tracking your flights, controlling your fleet, measuring performance and productivity. And at the same time, with just a click of a button, you can stream your flight videos in real time to anyone. And when you are ready, you can fly these missions you have already planned with any drone you already control, from anywhere and even beyond visual line of sight, without having to go to any other system. And even better, imagine doing all that with virtually any drone type and model, and integrated in real time with all your support systems needed to fly. You don't have to imagine anymore. Now you have Votix. Votix is disrupting the drone industry by creating the concept of drone orchestration. Votix orchestrates the entire drone ecosystem, connecting all the moving parts of the complex drone operation, making it easy to operate and feasible to automate. Votix developed the first platform capable of truly delivering drone orchestration, teleoperation, and automation while being drone agnostic. Votix is your one-stop shop for drone software. Everything you need to manage, stream, and fly your drones. Votix is a cloud-based software as a service platform composed of 3 standalone products. Votix Manage. Create your missions, prepare for your flights, and get real-time LANC approvals. Manage your fleet, track your flights, and control your captured media. Centralize your logs. Measure performance and view all analytics in dashboards and reports. Votix Stream. Live stream flight videos from anywhere to any browser in high definition with ultra-low latency. Live video stream to multiple users, open or authenticated. View all your drone streaming and live video streaming from other sources in one place. Votix Fly. Teleoperate your drones from anywhere, including beyond visual line of sight. Enhance drone capabilities with visual intelligence and precision landing. Integrate your drone ecosystem in real time, such as drone in a box, traffic management, and collision avoidance systems, and much more. Votix products are independent but fully integrated. Separately, these 3 products can meet all your needs while respecting your priorities by implementing them at different times, and once you combine these 3 products, Votix becomes a very powerful platform. Votix. Go beyond. Votix. Drone orchestration and automation.
All right, that was so great. And if there's 3
awesome.
words to remember here, right? It's manage, stream, and fly.
And go beyond, Don.
And go beyond. So, Edwin, your video said you don't need to imagine anymore, right? And that's true, because today we're going to show them real-world demos from 3 countries, the United States, Canada, and Colombia, where they don't have to, right? The folks out there don't have to imagine anymore. They can see how this actually works. So I'm really excited for you to walk us through this demonstration, Edwin. So why don't we go ahead and start, and you can tell us how it's going to begin.
Sure, Don. Let's roll. I'm excited. Let's go. Okay.
All right, so what are we looking at here?
Yeah, right now we're looking at the section, where you actually do the managing. So you do the managing here. The first thing you do in the manage section is to actually create a project. It's optional, so you can create a project where you actually can consolidate several operations. Something important is that you can have or establish this as the way to communicate between people who's not familiar to the drone industry or the drone operation, but it still requires something. I mean, the user can add, all sorts of information, KML, or can actually add a PDF file where information is required, all sorts of different pieces of information, or you as a planner can request information from a user in order to be able to properly create the plan for executing a mission. Once that's set up, you pretty much are ready, and then you click on submit, and it's just there, and it goes through the process of updating the different things. Then we're moving on to creating, zones. So zones for us in the system is geofences, 3D geofences, where you actually establish an operational area, a virtual area. This is pretty cool for safety because it does allow to enclose the operation in an area that is extremely safe to operate. Not even the pilot on the field can exceed that, limit, that virtual limit. The very first thing you define is the area where you're going to operate, the name for the zone, and then, once you are ready with that and established, like the ceiling and the floor of your the area, then you can actually enter into the drawing section. So once you enter the drawing section, as you see here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and type, for example, I'm planning on a solar farm in Houston, so I'm typing in the area where my solar farm is, as you see here, for example. I'm going to start defining a very simple geofence around my geofence, my solar farm, by actually tossing waypoints to the areas you see, for example. Bear in mind that while I'm building this area, that you can actually define that through uploading a KML for complex polygons. And you can even, type in the specific coordinates of the waypoints that will become your geofence. Now, you also have what's called rally points or safe landing points. The software actually calculates where you are and takes the drone to the safest point in the area. Then once we are ready, we go into...
I was going to say, Edwin, those were the little blue dots that we showed there on the last screen. And
Yep.
now you're getting more tactical, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. That's a key point because many operations are far from the home point. So you really want to be able to rapidly and safely land an aircraft if required by any reason. Let's say you receive a communication asking you to clear the airspace, or you receive a communication indicating that there's a sudden storm coming up and you need to land your aircraft. Returning to home may jeopardize the operation or the airspace or any manned aircraft. Just landing in the closest safe point can definitely make the difference.
Absolutely.
Then we move on to, let me show you how, once you have a geofence, you move on to creating a mission. So a mission is something you plan to do within the geofence. The one that I'm going to show you here right now, it's actually what we call linear mission. A linear mission is more like a surveillance or airdrop type of mission, transportations and so on. So you just create the whatever you want, and then you start defining actions per waypoint. And those actions are displayed depending on the aircraft capacity and the type of sensor that is available on board the aircraft. But you can actually define waypoints per specific actions per waypoint, or actions for all the waypoints at the same time. So once you're pretty much ready, updating different actions, even the height or the specific kind of parameters you want for the sensor, you can just simply save your mission and you'll be ready. That's the way. And now you can use this recurrently. So once you have a geofence and a mission planned in advance in the safety of your desk, you're going to be able to actually move on to simply executing during time. Now, I created what's called a linear mission here, but let me actually create something that is cool in our system. It's automated grids. This is a pretty sophisticated feature where you can actually define grids for very technical captures. Our system supports that, so you don't have to go to another piece of software for actually creating grids. So we support both types of things. So let me just go ahead and create it. In this case, I created and I'm going to draw it. Once I have that mission created, I enter again into the drawing mode. The only difference here is that it's going to start tossing some waypoints for defining the area where the grid is going to be drawn. Once you have that, and you see in my particular case here that my solar farm is pretty complex in configuration, so I can play with my polygon. And again, I'm just using, you know, the feature of tossing waypoints, but I can actually just again upload a KML for the specific configuration of the grid that I'm gonna or the polygon that I'm gonna use for the grid. And then once I do that, I just draw the grid, and you see the grid, you know, drawn here. And something cool is something we call customizable grids. So once you actually toss a grid and create it, you can actually customize it by changing the sensor, changing parameters if you want a better GSD or you want a better, you know, speed and so on. And you can just update the grid. Once updated, you're done. That's actually the kind of things you can do in the missioning part. Once you're in the area mission, I'm going to show you something cool. We also support, you know, scheduling missions. So once you actually create missions and Geofences, you can go and start scheduling missions for your pilots. So here we are creating a mission for a pilot. I'm defining some of the characteristics of the fly, who's going to fly, where is going to fly, what's the kind of zone that is going to be flown. And I have the chance to actually select the specifics of the operation. And then once I finish selecting my mission and my geofence, I'm ready just to kind of schedule it. And once I schedule, I'm going to see it, you know, scheduled in my calendar for the day that I selected. You see there. And if I click on it, I see some details, and I can go straight to the mission from that point on. So I'm ready to fly. The system will populate that. Yeah. Don,
I just want to highlight, you've got a picture of a drone, you had sensors in the last screen, but your system is really drone and sensor agnostic. Isn't that right, Edwin?
Exactly. Good point there, Don. I mean, our system is planned from the beginning to actually support all sorts of different drones and operate in different types of contexts. So it's not a specific branded, you know, operation. It's any drone, any sensor. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And we'll see some of that examples later in the process.
Excellent.
Now, once I'm just showing here something that is about the customizable checklists. So we show a couple of questions just for the demo, but normally you can actually, per mission, you can define the questions that you want to see and have the pilot answering before, you know, the takeoff or before engaging the drone, and that's important for safety features. Now we're going here into what's called the fleet management. So you have the profile for every device that is registered in the fleet, and you can have a number of different pieces of information that help you with the maintenance, you know, and also, you know, the kind of activity that the drone has done, and perhaps have a plan for operating, you know, schedule maintenance or repairs on the drone, or keep it, you know, available or not.
All right.
Yeah, now we're moving on to another cool area of our platform, which is the Drone in a Box support. So we do support Drone in a Box. We're actually Drone in a Box agnostic, you know, Don too. That means we really support a number of different boxes. Here's the console where you can actually operate the box and see some telemetry. But you also have the form where you can actually register every box that you have, any new one that you have coming up in our system, and you can use it as part of a fleet in combination with some drones. We also support precision landing for actually landing drones there. Now, the part that we're seeing here is actually the logs. So if you actually operate a drone outside our platform and you have the log and you want to actually manage it in our platform, you can do that. You can bring that log up, and you'll be able to have it, you know, coexisting with all the different operations you did in our system. You're going to be able to analyze what happened with that log and organize your work. For example, if you have historical data that you want to bring on board our system, you can do it right away.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, moving on to the analytics part. Here you're seeing actually a number of different reports. They're customizable, by the way. Reports that you can play with in different aspects. You know, look at the pilot's profile, the aircraft profile, the fleet, you know, details. You can see some log information from the aircraft, related to the sensors activity, the rotors, the battery. So you have a number of different analytics here that you can use for different uses. Technicians, planners, pilots, management can come to these reports. And this last part here in the analytical part is very cool. This is the precision analytics part. We have an integration with Pix4D for rendering. So if you have a grid and you capture the data, and you have a properly captured set of data, you can actually process with Pix4D. We'll see that later in our demonstration. And this is the area where you see the render maps, as resulting from that capture and that processing in our system without going anywhere else. That's actually built in our system.
Wow. So end to end, from beginning planning all the way through the analytics on the back end, that's managed.
Yes, that is managed. Exactly. So it's a pretty cool, pretty robust product that we have. You can actually license that product on its own. You can actually do a number of different things in the manage area without the stream or the fly. We'll move on to the streaming and fly areas, but up to now, this is a pretty solid way of running your operations and conducting all sorts of operations. This is another example that I wanted to show you. This is how easy you move from one render to another. Pretty cool. So we had one area. This is the other area. Actually, tactical teams use this for analyzing how they're going to enter into a certain area beyond engineers or architects. This is pretty useful for law enforcement and firemen, for example, for analyzing how they can operate an area under a situation or during a disaster or a flooding or something like that. So kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now moving on. We're going to do a couple of cool things here. So advancing, you can actually see that we have the LANS approval requests, it's already supported in our platform. So this is one of the latest, things that we have here. So you can actually create your LANS request, plan accordingly to your needs. And then, once you fill out all the information, where you're going to fly, when you're going to fly, for how long, and so on, you actually submit this to LANS directly, and you're going to get, the approval or the denial, depending on the specifics of your request. Once you have that, you simply have the list of different, approvals that you have, and you can actually launch your flight directly from here. So you can click on, hey, I want to go to this particular flight that I have an approval for, or you can actually schedule that flight with that approval already. So this is a pretty dynamic way to actually see. You can set up, once you set up a few things that LANS requires, you're pretty much done. And you're going to see those that are active and those that are expired. So you can organize your different approvals, especially when you have many. This is the way you actually go directly to a flight that is pre-approved, and you rapidly will be in the air from that point on. It's pretty dynamic, pretty straightforward for flying and easily executing an operation.
Yeah, one-stop shop.
One-stop shop. Yeah, that's exactly the motto that we use. You don't have to go to a lot of places to actually operate. Now, we're moving on to the streaming part. Now, we have what's called active fleet map, where you can see all the different drones that are operating or active, and you can engage them directly. So this particular case, I'm engaging one drone, for example, that was active. This is a drone that is in Colombia right now. So I'm going to show it just, right there, landed. We're going to see it flying later in the process. I just wanted to show you that for me, it was easy to see it. You see that I'm operating the sensor right now. I'm not going to launch the drone simply because in the advanced observer capability that I'm showing, which is a streaming-based kind of capability, I can operate the sensor. This is why it's advanced. Because I have access, I cannot operate the drone, like flying the drone itself, but I can operate the sensors. So you see how I'm actually switching in between, thermal, because this drone has a thermal capable sensor. I'm being able to use it and operate it. Now I just closed the session. I'm seeing that there's other, drones in the air. And then I'm going to move to something that is very cool, which is, what we call the MultiView Console. So you can have several drones, their feeds actually listed here. You can go from 4 to 8 to 16 to 24 to 32. So you can have a console with many feeds, as many as you want. In this case, we have 4. We are actually connecting. The first was Medellin in Colombia. The second one is actually Miami. So we have the second feed in Miami. The third that is coming up is actually in Canada right now. And the last one is actually a device. So you can have devices. In this case, it's a tablet. You can have a chest camera. You can have a phone camera, a tablet camera that you can engage here. In this case, it's a tablet that is running an Outel, operation right now, and we're actually streaming the tablet's direct screen to our window here, to our console. So you have 4 different operations here. This is pretty powerful, Don, because this is the way normally you can see and you can enhance your situational awareness. You see the latency that we have there. There's 2-3 flights right now occurring there in the air. This is live, Don. So this is the kind of feeds that you can get. The pilots in command on the field in each one of the cases are, doing their own stuff, and you're just, analyzing that. Now, I switched to what's called the floating windows streaming capability. So you not only can have a fixed console, but you can also have the list of devices that you actually can connect. That includes your fleet or other devices, as I mentioned, and you can just play with them, and have them floating. Then I switched back to this. I'm just disengaging a couple of the ones that I already saw that they're working fine. I'm okay, but I want to see these 2 landing, by the way. So I'm just waiting for them to land. In the meantime, I might actually decide to simply upload another drone that I knew it's running right now, and I just put it in one of the spots that is available right now. So it's pretty dynamic in terms of selecting different sensors and being able to observe what's going on. This is a very basic, from a, let's say, streaming standpoint, basic way to access those streamings, but very, very, very powerful in terms of the capabilities that you can achieve or the level of awareness that you can achieve with these drones. So I'm landing, Miami.
This can go to multiple stakeholders. Is that right, Edwin?
Yeah, exactly. Now it's a single console seeing many streams. But again, Don, you can actually have this, and we'll show later how you actually can share a link and have as many people as you define actually looking at this information real time. So you may be there just looking at this data. I may be and share this with other people, and all of them seeing what is going on. So imagine the major, some police officer and some other people just looking at this. So I'm done with the MultiView console. And again, just to kind of show you another alternative. I mean, I'm again going to my active fleet map, and I'm going to connect an additional drone. So right now I'm connecting Canada. So Canada, again, the same way I showed you Medellin in Colombia, I'm just going to Canada pretty quick, and exactly the same kind of capability. You see that in my map, I'm pretty far from home. I'm actually in Miami, Dawn, and I'm connecting this beautiful drone, this beautiful day in Canada right now, showing that I can move the sensor. This particular sensor has, a zoom capability. So I'm just zooming, and playing with my sensor. Again, you see that it's advanced observer, so I can move sensors on board the drone, but I cannot fly the drone. I'm just closing the connection, and I'm going to show you one last, drone here so you can see that. Let me look for it. Okay, yeah, zooming in. So I have a crowded area here, so let me just go over the drone that I need and watch it. And I'm connecting Miami, just switching from one to another, pretty easy way. So in 5 minutes, I can see 3, 4, 5 drones and see if all the operations are going well. And it's a very fast, very dynamic way to analyze the different operations that my business may have. Okay, now moving on. Yeah, you see, I'm just, playing with my map here and showing the audience that, we're actually in Miami here, already connected to my drone. Yeah, and again, in this capability, I cannot fly, so I'm just going to close my connection and move on to the next part of the demonstration. Again, moving my sensor here. It's important, close my connection. Done. So far, great. This is what we call the streaming capability. So again, you can share the streaming, you can share a link, and there's different types of ways to share that. You can share that, publicly or pin-based, or you can actually do it, authenticated. This is different types of ways for having viewers to access our streaming. In this capacity right now, I'm actually just connecting one drone, and I'm gonna do a full telecontrol operation. So I'm in Miami, and I'm fully telecontrolling a Canada drone, the drone that we just saw in Canada that through the advanced observer capability, Dawn.
Right.
This is actually right now, you saw that the cockpit, the controls on the right hand just changed. You notice that? Now I have a totally different type of interface where I can actually control the aircraft fully.
So you're
So not
sitting in
only the
Miami,
sensor,
and you're going to fly this thing in Canada.
yes, I am. And you see the latency, beautiful. You see all the fleet. I mean, I love when I see, when you see all the animals and you see the people and you see the cars and you see, all the activity in a specific field. Now I'm showing here, when you have the link, you can actually share the link, input the data. And I particularly showed when you actually need authentication, the kind of message you can see if you're not authenticated.
Gotcha.
Later in the process, I'll show you, when you exceed the number of views that you yourself allow, because you can define how many viewers you want to have allowed to see your streaming, which is cool for security capabilities or security purposes. Now you saw, while we were talking, I took off, and I'm on the air right now. So this is a beautiful view. I'm gonna just move the drone. I'm bringing a little bit down, my gimbal, just to kind of see a little bit more cool stuff and kind of, have a perception of transition. You see, I'm just moving ahead a little bit to the right. I'm gonna see that bridge there. Let me just go there and see the bridge.
It's so crystal clear what you can see.
Yeah, it's actually, Dawn, it's beautiful. It's high definition. And take a look at the cars. So they're fluid, it's like, live. We have a less than a quarter of a second latency, Dawn. This is important for real-time operations, especially when you're actually in a pursuit or you really need to see things and even have your drone reacting to certain conditions. You need that kind of speed in the communication you have. Now, while operating the sensors, you see I'm zooming in, and bringing the gimbal down and up, or moving the drone, and it looks pretty fluid. So you can just do it, like real time and accordingly to the needs that you have. I'm gonna just switch or move to the left, and see, kind of the boats there. They're beautiful, It looks like a cool area.
It does.
Yeah, we do have boats
visit
here.
that place.
Yeah, exactly. It's a beautiful place, by the way, and the day is definitely, cool. Yeah, we have boats here in Miami too, but Canada is definitely beautiful. So this is the way you actually do that. Let's just play a little bit more while I explain a few extra things. Now, you have different type of fail safes done here, not only operating a drone. If for any reason you lose connectivity, for example, the drone will operate accordingly. There's different ways you can set up the system to react. One of them is actually having the drone in the system waiting for reconnection. And if after certain seconds there's no recognition, the system will return the drone back to home. Okay, so reconnecting, it's very important. Now, you can actually set up the system to say, if I don't see any reconnection, just go ahead and execute the mission that is in the system right now for this zone. And that's the way, the drone will conduct certain mission instead of just landing, for example. So there's different ways. Now, the other is that the system will always control that you don't exceed certain parameters. You can set up the behavior of the drone for, speedier, behavior or slower behavior. And if you try to exceed the zones, the system will simply, prohibit you from doing it. Will send you a message saying you're trying to exceed your area. You're not allowed to. Will take control. Will place you inside the geofence in a safe zone, and will turn the control back to you. It's a pretty cool, way of keeping things safer for you. The system assists the navigation done. So in general, for telecontrolling, you're not actually, you're just indicating, the direction of your drone and a few very basic controls, but most of the complexity behind operating that drone is actually taken care of by the system. So I'm just returning home here. I just click on the return home. I confirm that I'm going back. There's always battery control. So if the system determines that you're running out of battery, we'll initiate a return to home routine when deemed that you have enough battery to return home. That's a way to control the landing. Again, we support precision landing, hence the system will, if that feature is enabled, will land exactly where you want it, either if it is a box or a specific roof place or any specific area where you want that drone landed. We're just landing here and finishing our demonstration of what's actually telecontrol. And again, you may have this, since this work on browser sessions, you may actually have several browser sessions open and fly and operate drones in different locations as required. The same way you saw we operate the advanced observer capability for different places.
All right.
This is done. Exactly. This is we're done with the flying. Now let me show you a couple of final sections in our software before finishing. Well, before that, I just want to show you Miami, that I can connect Miami. We're not going to fly in this opportunity, just connecting there and seeing that it's as easy as simply landing one and simply opening another one again and being able to access that drone there, answer the questions. You have multi and direct. Direct is a connection that is straightforward to the drone, no shared streamed session, and the multi, it's for streaming to several people. Here, I'm going to move the sensor pretty quick, and I'm going to finish here the session and show you what's the mission history, which I think is a cool part of our software too. Here the link. I mean that I decided to show you, and it's asking me for authentication. I'm using a different browser here, but again, I'm not authenticated in that browser, just to show you. But it actually is cool because that's the way it operates. If you don't authenticate, in this particular case, it's not going to allow you. Now, mission history here, you see the history of all your flights. You can access the data. I actually captured a few pictures during the flight. I can see the telemetry. I can assign this flight to a specific project, and then, kind of replicate what I did and see exactly where I operated. And you can actually use this other button that you see on the right hand to upload a report from a pilot of anyone else who wants to upload a piece of information here. Let me show you another here where I operated in Medellin with the thermal sensor, so you can see the photos. These photos are
Colombia.
in the original. Yeah, exactly, in Colombia. And these photos are in the original sensor format, with all the metadata that is, associated with that sensor. Now you see the button there that says Pix4D. This is the button that you use for processing those pictures and have them render in a 3D format if they are suitable for that. The system will let you know if those photos work for, creating a render in the system. Now we're getting to the end of our demonstration, Don. This is the cool system. Hopefully you enjoyed it, Don. And any questions you have, please let me know. This is for the audience, and looking forward to talk to anyone.
Well, Edwin, I can't imagine flying drones, especially at scale, without having a system like this, and especially for operations beyond visual line of sight. Industrial, you gave a couple use cases, public safety, critical infrastructure, disaster response. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on, the ways that this can be employed. So thank you so much to be able to see the demo in real time, and to see you especially flying from Miami, a drone in Canada, while being able to watch United States, Canada, and Colombia all at the same time. Really, really, really amazing. So as they say, a picture paints 1,000 words, and you've given us a lot of pictures here to get our brains around. But how do people get in touch with you, Edwin, to learn more about Votix and drone orchestration?
Yeah, I mean, the main contact is contact@votix.com. You can also get in contact with us via the website, votix.com. There's a contact form there. You can email me directly, Edwin esanchez@votix.com, esanchez with Z at the end at votix.com. Definitely anyone who is during the that is in the event that we're gonna have in Vegas will be able to contact us. We have a booth there, and looking forward to see you around, or through you too. You know.
All right, very much. Yeah, very good. That was Commercial UAV Expo
UAV.
next week in Las Vegas, and we will be seeing everybody there. And Edwin and his team will be out and about at a whole host of shows between 2022 and 2023. So contact them, stop by, say hello, learn more about drone orchestration. But in
Oh,
the
definitely
meantime,
done.
yes, yes, thank you so much. This was absolutely amazing, Edwin.
Yeah,
I
I'm
hope.
happy for it. Looking forward to it, and definitely, willing to show everyone how many things can be done and achieved, and the level of control and orchestration you can achieve using our platform in your own drone fleet.
All right. Well, that's all she wrote.